Here I have three vintage JVC tape camcorders on display. They're from 1995, 1999, and 2003 respectively. They all have a similar size and form factor, but one of them is not like the others. And no, it's not because of the color. The similarity in design is extensive enough that all three use the same type of battery. Likewise, all three can be operated by the same remote control. The 1995 model records onto compact VHS, better known as VHS-C, one of these little cassettes. The 2003 model upgraded that to Super VHS-C and added a flip-out LCD, but is still fully backwards compatible with regular VHS-C cassettes. The 1999 model looks almost identical, including the same ridiculously oversized LCD bezel, but it's hiding a secret. It looks ready to accept the same kind of VHS-C tape as all the rest, but when we open the hatch, we see a completely different tape mechanism inside because it uses one of these little mini DV tapes instead. You can see all the extra space in there that goes to waste. It is the JVC GR-DVF-10U, which was their answer to providing a more affordable entry into the world of digital video recording by reusing as many parts as possible with their existing analog VHS-C and Super VHS-C camcorders. The result was a camcorder this big to use a tape this small, which just doesn't look right. JVC introduced it in the fall of 1998 with a full-page magazine ad whose headline read, "Capture the memories of his childhood without tapping into his college fund." The JVC GR-DVF-10 Digital Cybercam. Stunning digital quality without the digital price tag. Its price tag was $999, which I think was still enough to tap into quite a few people's college funds. By April 1999, it was reduced to $799, matching the price of Sony's top-of-the-line analog Hi8 camcorder, but still twice as expensive as JVC's entry-level VHS-C camcorder. JVC had one other mini DV model based on a VHS-C camcorder body, the GR-DVA-1, which was even cheaper than the GR-DVF-10 because it didn't have a flip-out LCD or a built-in speaker, although you did at least get a color viewfinder. And despite its total lack of features, JVC had the gall to advertise it with a tag saying, "The camcorder for the future."
So I'm assuming that you've taped with a cell phone too?
I prefer a digital camcorder. The image is clearer, and it's all we need if we do this.
Okay, well, where are we going to get one of those?
To give you a sample of that stunning digital quality that JVC promised, now I'll give you a direct comparison between the GR-DVF-10 mini DV camcorder and the Sony Hi8 camcorder you could get for the same price. Here is the Sony Hi8 camcorder, recording in SP mode with steady shot image stabilization enabled, to give you a sample of its image quality. This was a top-of-the-line analog camcorder in direct competition with the JVC digital camcorder. And now I'm recording using the JVC Mini DV camcorder. I noticed its field of view is not quite as wide as the Sony's. I do have its image stabilization enabled, which I don't think is quite as effective as Steady Shot, but this was a digital camcorder for the same price as the analog Sony, so you can judge for yourself how it compares. The JVC GR-DVF-10 was Consumer Reports' top-rated camcorder in 1999. They judged its picture quality to be excellent and its sound quality to be very good, but its ease of use was only fair. So as they pondered the question of whether or not it was time to go digital, the answer turned out to be no, as they give their Consumer Reports Best Buy recommendation to Sony's entry-level analog Video 8 camcorder, commending its near-digital picture quality. But one feature which might have enticed you to go with a more expensive digital camcorder in 1999 was computerized video editing, which Consumer Reports called the real reason to go digital. And in their ad for the GR DVF-10 camcorder, JVC did mention its multimedia capabilities, including uploading to the internet via your home PC. If you look around this camcorder, you do see an external microphone input, which is a nice touch, as well as the obligatory composite video and stereo audio outputs. Another nice feature is a built-in 3-watt halogen spotlight, good for recording video in dim locations. And on the back you do get an S-video output, but there is no IEEE 1394 FireWire port, which is what DV camcorders normally used to transfer the digital video into your computer. Instead, it has this 3.5mm jack labeled JLIP. That stands for Joint Level Interface Protocol, which was used by JVC to transmit data from its camera to a computer, which required the optional JLIP video capture box, which, despite having the name Digital Video Capture, was actually only capable of capturing still images by doing frame grabs from the videotape, and it connected to your computer via an RS-232 serial port. As the owner's manual notes, the data recorded on the tape is digital, but the output of this camcorder is analog. So it was rather misleading for the GR DVF-10 to be advertised as having 3.4 times better color clarity than any other camcorder format and better sound quality than CD, when the only way to actually get that superior color clarity and sound quality is to take out the tape and play it in another camcorder which actually does have a FireWire output, which is what I'm doing for the purpose of making this video. Or if you were really well heeled, you could blow $1,500 on a combination Mini DV and Super VHS VCR. Another thing you may have noticed is missing is an input for a power supply. That's because to charge the battery, you have to take it off the camcorder and put it on this external battery charger. And then if you want to run the camcorder on AC power, you have to use this battery dongle, which connects to the battery charger, but cannot be used the same time as charging a battery. And whereas Sony had already been using lithium-ion batteries for several years in their camcorders by this point, JVC was still using old-fashioned nickel-cadmium batteries, which suffer from the dreaded memory effect. Thus, it was recommended to use the refresh function to fully discharge the battery before charging it. Luckily, new aftermarket nickel metal hydride batteries are available for these camcorders, and since it's the same type, they make a good upgrade for VHS-C camcorders as well. This was also one of the last camcorders to have a miniature black and white CRT in the viewfinder. The original owner of this camcorder used it to record their kids' karate practice, so I'll give you a little sample of what that looks like.
guys give him a 10 count?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Oh boy.
5,
Come on.
4,
A few more seconds.
3,
Come on,
2,
yellow bucket.
1.
Break! Good job. You got all kinds of stuff in there. Kid A. Everyone give Dylan a street bar. Awesome. All right.
In late 1999, JVC introduced the new GR-DVF-11 camcorder, which was slightly smaller and lighter because it was no longer based on a bulky VHS-C camcorder body. It also thankfully now added a DV FireWire port and used a lithium-ion battery pack, although it still required an external battery charger, but it no longer had an external microphone input or video light. You had to upgrade to the GR-DVF-21 to get the video light, and upgrading to the GR-DVF-31 gave you a larger 3-inch LCD and color viewfinder. So, the only really notable thing about the JVC GR-DVF-10 camcorder is that it looks identical to an analog VHS-C camcorder until you go to put the tape in, and whoopsie, it takes one of these little mini DV tapes instead. And then you go to transfer the video from that tape into your computer, and whoopsie, there's no FireWire port. If you want one of these camcorders, there's plenty of them on eBay, although many of them are listed as for parts only. But that could simply be because a lot of the sellers don't have a working battery or charger, so they don't have any way to test it. So if you see one going for dirt cheap, it may be worth a chance.
Practice a few more times. Make sure you're perfect distance. All right, are you ready?
Spin.
Do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone can do it. Nice job. Looks like you got this working with Petrified Forest. I don't know. Pretty solid one. Let's see that side kick first. Go. Yeah, that's the foot position. Do it again. Go.
Yeah.
One more. Fast as you can. Go.
Yeah.
Good. Set it up. Remember, you're going to hit Mr. DeSorgo in the belly. You're going right through it. Forget about the board. Hit him right in the stomach. One more practice. All right, are you ready?
Spin.
Go for it. Piece of cake.